Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference reaction for the game against Burnley. And look, I said it this morning, I've got to be absolutely honest. I don't know whether it was Simon Stone, James Cooper or Simon Peach, but it was one of them. I think it might have been James Cooper actually, who asked the question about transfers. So big shout out to James for asking the question that the fans want. About the transfers. Also, injury updates. Lindelof will be back to play with Maguire tomorrow. I think this is bad news, by the way. Actually, I'm just going to say this straight out. There will be people out there going, oh, look at Goldbridge. He's not happy that a player's back. I tell you what, I like Lindelof. I'm actually, because I want Manchester United to win, in my opinion, we've got a better chance if Lindelof doesn't play. Hence, Lindelof being back means he will play with Maguire, which means we won't play Bay or Twansebi. I think, in my opinion, and I've got every right to have an opinion, that Manchester United have got better chances of winning games and winning trophies without Lindelof and Maguire playing. So if Lindelof still had a knock, which he already had at the weekend, I would have been a bit more confident about this game because I believe a quick centre-back means we play a higher line, which means we play higher up the pitch and we make less mistakes. So look, Lindelof back training. That is why I'm not happy about it because I think we're better off without Lindelof and Maguire, as I've said many times. So look, I'm glad that Lindelof is back, but I'm worried about what that means for us and our title aspirations. I think our title aspirations are better without. But he was asked about transfers. There's a good and there's a bad side to this. The reality is, and this game against Burnley is massive, and Ollie spoke about a lot of things, but he was asked a direct question about transfers. The question was really about, you know, Ed Woodward has spoken about summer signings. What about strengthening the squad? Is that something that you want to be doing? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer basically said that we're unlikely to buy anybody in January. But what he actually said, it's my birthday today, can I get a shout out? Ollie didn't say that, Paul. Amasulu did, so happy birthday, Paul. But what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said about transfers, to be honest with you, I don't think he has actually closed the door, although some people will say he has. He did say the words, it's unlikely we'll make any signings in January, or words to that effect. But what he actually said is, in January, it's very difficult to do deals. But if someone comes up that we've been looking at long term, then yes, we'd be interested. But it's unlikely that it'll happen because it's very hard to get players that are your targets in January because clubs don't want to sell. So hence, it's unlikely anything's going to happen. Now, I saw Fabrizio Romano saying a few minutes ago on Sky that Premier League clubs will probably make their moves in the last week or two of the transfer window for some reason. It is... Look, I'm not going to go in on Ollie here. Ollie is basically Team Manchester United. He's the manager of the club and we're in a good position. He would be, beyond stupid to come out with something negative about, I want a transfer and I can't get one. I mean, that didn't work out well for Mourinho, did he? He was gone within 4 months of saying that. So you're top of the league, you need to keep momentum, you need to keep everything on board. I'm sure privately Solskjaer is very frustrated. He spoke about the transfer window in the summer and said that we strengthened the squad, and I think he's right there, because Telles gives us 2 left-backs, Van der Beek gives us another midfielder, Cavani gives us more attacking options, but we didn't get the centre-back or right-winger, which were the priorities. So he's right there. He's playing the game there. We did strengthen the squad, but we didn't get the priorities in. And here we are in January, and we still lack that right winger and centre-back. And it's unlikely he's going to get that. If you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is sat there saying to Ed Woodward, don't worry about transfers, it's absolutely fine. No manager in living history has ever said that they don't want any transfers, because managers always want more players. So Solskjaer, rest assured, this is not on him. He will want players, but he cannot get players if the board don't get them for him. So, Mark, please call my girlfriend Emma a prat. Luca Costa, I'm not calling a woman a prat. That's not very nice. But anyway, so when Solskjaer says it's unlikely we're going to get any signings in January because it's difficult, I think effectively, and we can all look at words and read the deeper meaning, what this shows, what Solskjaer is saying to me, and I believe this to be the truth, is that I would like players in January, and he basically says that, look, if we can get one of the targets in January, of course we'll get them in. We did it, last year with Bruno, but it's very hard to do. I think in many ways what Solskjaer is saying, is he not, is that I want players, this board can't get them, which is what we all know anyway. So, I would read unlikely to get any players in January, but would like to get some players in January, but it's very hard. I would read that as, we haven't got a director of football, we haven't got a competent transfer negotiating board. What chance have I got of getting signings in January when they can't do it in the summer? And that's literally how I read it, because, you know what, that's the truth. You know, it's not difficult to do signings in January if you've been working on them since September. It's difficult to walk into January like a bloody sweet shop and go, ooh, you know, that's a bit like, it feels like the January transfer window is a surprise to Manchester United's transfer negotiating board. It's like, oh my God, transfer window is open. We've not done any prep. It's like someone waking you up at 6 a.m. in the morning and saying, you're on holiday, you're going on holiday to Mallorca. Well, I've not packed, I've not done anything. Well, you're going, come on. Like, you know, you book holiday weeks in advance. You should be booking your transfers in way before January. But, you know, for United, it's, you know, United's board, it's all a big bloody surprise, isn't it? It's like they're on a merry-go-round. They haven't got a bloody clue how they got on there and how to get off. So, yeah, January transfer window is hard. I agree with Solskjaer that it's it's looking unlikely that we'll do any business. Not definite, but unlikely. But the reason you get January transfer window signings done is because you work on them before January. It's a ridiculously hard transfer window, January, because it's small. It's a small window. You've got to come into it prepared. And I don't know whether United are. You know, I keep saying this to you. We can talk about the stories, and there's a little bit about Samari I can give you in a minute or two. The reality is, I don't know the centre-back we're looking at, and I don't know whether we're looking at a midfielder. Casido looked like the most nailed-on one to sign. We're not doing that. So, and the thing about United is, we always get a bit of a, you know, this time last year, we knew we were in for Bruno, and it still happened right at the end of the window. So, I think it's going to be very difficult for us to do deals, but I don't think it's because Solskjaer doesn't want to. I don't want to read on social media, oh, Solskjaer's just a Glazer puppet. Well, of course he is. They're his employer. He's an employee of them. It would be wrong of the manager of Manchester United to come out today and say, I want signings, but they've messed it up. But I think in many ways he almost has said that, because he said he wants players. We've got targets, but it's hard to get them in January. Well, the only reason it's hard to get them in January is one of two reasons. One, the clubs don't want to sell them, or two, we've not scouted correctly, because ultimately the situation United are in with the centre-backs that we've got, we cannot say this. We cannot sit there and go, we'll wait till the summer to get a really good centre-back, because a really good centre-back now could be the difference between third and winning a title. So we should be looking at a player now to bring in. And as we know with United, if you want Upamecano, he might go to Bayern Munich, so you don't get anybody anyway. We should be looking and have something in place to bring players in January, because I think it would have given us the kickstart to win the league. Hi Mark, what do you think about Yari Verschaffen from Anderlecht instead of Sancho? Much cheaper, just as much potential, says Travis Johnson Thompson. I'll take your words for that. And a little bit of an update here pinned by the United Stand admin. Romano, to be clear about Man United plans, Babakari Samari and Max Aarons have been scouted. They're appreciated, but no talks have been open to sign them in January. Red Circle says, so that's from the United Stand via Fabrizio Romano. And also Mohamed Behafsi, who is a French journalist. He was speaking about Samari. I was going to mention that anyway, saying that United are basically the same thing. United have scouted him, but there's not been any talks with him. I just don't see Man United doing a deal for Samari in this transfer window. Unfortunately, I don't see it. But look, we're all gonna. You know what? Unfortunately, the reality is that we may well be sat here in May when the season's over and United haven't won the title, and we're looking back on lots of mistakes from Maguire and Lindelof going, if we'd bought a centre-back in January, we might have won the league. I don't want that to happen, but that's looking increasingly likely, isn't it? That we're going to have to go with Maguire and Lindelof. But remember on that, many people have said this, even if we buy a centre-back, what's going to stop Ollie picking Maguire and Lindelof, who are his first choice centre-back pairing? So some of that responsibility does shift to Ollie. It's not just about, we need to buy a centre-back, because we do. There are other options to not play Maguire and Lindelof, and he still sticks with them. So, let's always be even-handed when apportioning the blame to our centre-back issue, because Ollie continually picks them, doesn't he? But he does want a centre-back, to be fair, and he should be getting one. What else? So injury update as well. Lindelof is back. Luke Shaw is back. They both trained fully today. Pogba and Bailly did train, but not for the full session. So that's bad news in a way, isn't it? I mean, Luke Shaw being back is very good news. We need Luke Shaw. Lindelof being back, I think if we had a choice out of Pogba and Lindelof and Bailly and Luke Shaw being back, Lindelof would be fourth. Ollie would probably put him first, but I think most of us would put him fourth. Little bit worried about Pogba, and obviously Eric Bailly, if he's not trained fully, he's never going to start tomorrow. I mean, Eric Bailly could be the fittest he's ever been. You know, he could be running laps round Manchester. He still won't get picked. It'll be Lindelof and Maguire. We need to accept that and hope that it's good enough. And I think it will. I think we can beat them with Lindelof and Maguire. But I'd rather see Bailly and Twansebi because it pushes us higher up the pitch. One of those with Maguire. Luke Shaw being back's good. But if Pogba's not back, we're going to see... What are we going to see? I suppose if Pogba's not back, we're going to see McFred anyway. Bruno definitely. He'd probably go with Martial, Rashford, and Cavani. So in one way, it could solve a problem. But you'd want Pogba to be fit for this game, wouldn't you? You really would. So you know, it's about what you think's best. As I said at the start of the video, I've got nothing against Lindelof, but I don't like Lindelof and Maguire. I think they're a bad centre back pairing. So. If Lindelof's knock had lasted another week, we would have got 2 more games of Maguire and Bailly or Maguire and Twansebi, and I think that would have become our first choice centre-back pairing, which I'm eager to see because I think that will give us a better chance. But the game tomorrow is what it's all about. Some interesting questions about that. Ollie was asked about, the progress of the team. If we win this game tomorrow, we're top of the league tomorrow night, having played the same amount of games as Liverpool. And he was asked the question, is that progress being first? And he said, well, we've won more games compared to last year. We've played better from last year, and we've scored more from this time last year. But progress isn't being top in January because no one remembers that. It's about keeping those things going, playing better, winning more, scoring more. So I think that was a good answer by Ollie, to be honest. I would agree with him on that one. Also, he was asked about, the season in general and the title race. And really interesting because I think I was talking about this morning. So I've got to say, I think Solskjaer did a really good interview today, actually, by the way. I do, and I know he said things that people don't like, but as I said about the transfer thing, I think he's basically saying I want players, but they can't get them for me. That's how I've read it. He said it's been an inconsistent season, and it's been an inconsistent year, which has led to consistency problems for teams. I think this is really mature from Ollie because it acknowledges what we've spoken about. We're in a title race because better teams than us, Liverpool, Man City, have been inconsistent. And I think Solskjaer is one of the first people to admit there is an issue because of the lack of fans in the ground, because of the world we live in, because of the volume of games, because of the compactness of the season. This has benefited some clubs. And he said that there will be more ups and downs. And I think there will be. And he was also asked about, what's it like being the hunted? Because if we win the game tomorrow, we become top of the league. Whether we last till May as top of the league or whether we last till Sunday top of the league, we're still going to have that top of the league thing tomorrow. As long as we don't lose, we'll be top of the league. So, what's it going to like to be the hunted? Which I think is a really good question because the problem Manchester United have... hi Mark, it's my friend Adeshwar's birthday today. Can you wish him a happy birthday and call him a prat, says Simran. Happy birthday to Ashwar. Not to call him a prat on his birthday, it's not a very nice thing to do. But... this is the transition, and again, it's a good answer from Ollie because we've been to 4 semi-finals, and I suppose if you're going to be harsh, bottled it. We've not won a title. We're going to be top of the league tomorrow. How long will we stay there? I personally think it could be 6 days, it could be 6 weeks, it could be 6 months. It could be, we can discuss that once we've beaten Burnley, but. Once you are top of the league, you're not the hunter anymore, you're the hunted, however long that lasts. And Fred can't be that good if everyone wants a CDM, says T. Smith. And but what Ollie did say is, and remember I've said this a lot, I've always said that the 2 principles that Manchester United need throughout the club is aggression and ruthlessness. Aggression to go out there and get what you want, both in transfers and on the pitch, and ruthlessness to finish it off, whether it's on the pitch or off the pitch, finishing off the careers of Rojo and Romero and Fosu Mensah and Phil Jones and maybe a Dan James or a Jesse Lingard or a Juan Mata. Ruthless. Get rid of them if they're not part of the plan. don't carry Deadwood along with you. Aggression to go and get the players that you need to get in to make us better. And that transmits onto the pitch as well. So when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is saying, if we're the hunted, we've got to be aggressive. We've got to play on the front foot, and we've got to work hard. And it's going to be a new challenge for us if we are top of the league. And it's how we cope with that. We've got to be... we've got to carry that confidence with that. Eric was the hero versus Villa and Ollie leaves him out, says Stephen. Yeah, mate, going back to that, I still can't believe that Eric Bailly got dropped after that Aston Villa game. I mean, it probably doesn't get discussed about enough, does it? I mean, I'm still stunned by that Eric Bailly got dropped after the Villa game for Lindelof. Yeah, I don't really want to talk about that because I think Solskjaer has had a brilliant interview and I'm loving what's going on with United at the moment. But I nearly bit my lip off there, bloody hell. I'm still very, very surprised that a player that literally got you the 3 points against Villa and played really well and blocks the ball at the end of the game from a certain goal is then dropped for Lindelof. But in another way, that shows you that at least the manager's making his decisions and he's made the decision that Lindelof and Maguire are better than Bailly and Maguire or Twansebi and Maguire or Twansebi and Lindelof or Bailly and Lindelof. At least the manager's making his choices. I know we don't want that to be the choice, but a manager must be allowed to make their decisions and then, you live off those results. This is the last amount in my bank account, Mark. Do you think we can win the league, says Benny? At this moment in time, do you want the honest answer or the heart answer? The heart answer is I do believe we can win the league in my heart. I can imagine what it would be like and it would be amazing. My head says no, we can't win the league. We shouldn't win the league. But there's so many permutations. If you bought in a player in January, I think that would be a real boost. If you stopped playing Maguire and Lindelof, I think that would be a real boost. If we keep picking Maguire and Lindelof and we don't buy anybody, I don't think we'll win the league. That's what I would say. Hi Mark, even Ollie said since Sir Alex Ferguson we've been top 4 3 times, winning games in hand, always important, but points on the table, says Manchester United 1999. Please smash a like on the video, by the way. Cavani is back for the game, of course, and Ollie did mutter these words. He said Cavani is going to be important for the rest of the season now. Tomorrow is the start of the season. And I liked that statement because it's not the start of the season, of course it's not, but that mentality to try and reset the clock and say, right, from tomorrow we're on to something. Because this week is huge. We build bloody FA Cup games at home to Watford up. Bullshit. I was as bored as anybody on Saturday night. But this is massive this week. A match against Burnley is always a pain in the arse, especially if it's on my career mode and especially if Kevin Friend is the referee, which he is. But this ain't career mode. This is real life. It will be a tough game, but we can't bottle that. We can't be drawing that. We can't be losing that. This is what winning's all about. So we've got to win that. And then we've got Anfield at the end of the week, which I don't care what anybody says. This is the biggest game of our season, bar none. It's a huge game. So a massive, exciting week. And I would challenge any Manchester United fan not to be excited about this week. This is what it's all about. The only hard thing is that we've got no fans to be at either of these games because it would just enhance the situation. So massive games. Cavani back. Cavani, very important. We'll be talking about him on the preview, but good to have him back. Going to be important. Liverpool plays Burnley after our game. Pretty cool, says Stray79. And we talk about Ollie's growth as a manager. How about his growth in front of the media, says Genwell Blanders. I think Ollie sometimes, when he's under pressure, shows his inexperience, but I think he's also, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to me will always be a legend of the club and I'll always love him for what he did on the pitch. I think as a personality he comes across he could be a right shit at home. He might not clean up after his breakfast, hoover, he might leave the toilet seat up, he might swear, who knows, but I think Solskjaer is just such a likeable person. And I think sometimes that's to his discredit, as I said this morning, because people think he's a soft touch and that he's lucky to be in the role. But he's definitely growing in the role. I think that he may not have the aura or natural media personality that I think a Frank Lampard's got, but I think he's definitely getting there. Who's made more mistakes, Lindelof or Bailly, says Robert McCormack. I mean, for me, Robert, it's not about that. It's not about who makes more mistakes. It's about who fits the team better. Eric Bailly's pace complements the team better than Lindelof, because Lindelof to me is just a slightly smaller Harry Maguire. There's not a partnership there. At defence, lacks pace. And also, against bloody Burnley, I don't see what Lindelof does in a team against Burnley, because Burnley are going to hit loads of high balls. I think, I've got to just say, Eric Bailly is absolutely the right man to play against Burnley because of his aerial ability. Not, pace, not so much so, but Lindelof's not that good in the air. So, logically, what does he see in Lindelof over Bailly, says Clark? I don't know. I don't know. I'd love to know. I would love to, have a Starbucks and a croissant and sit down with Ollie and talk about why he loves Maguire and Lindelof, because there's probably a very good explanation in his mind. How you lot gave Maguire a 3.5 versus City is a disgrace, says T. Smith. I didn't give him a 3.5, so I don't know what you're talking about there. I think I give Maguire quite a good score against City, to be honest, but there you go. Anyway, so what else did Ollie talk about? He said that, the real and he was, this was what I liked as well. He was very good to sort of focus on something that he said at the start of the season. He said we had a bad start to the season, and a lot of that was to do with the fact that we had no pre-season. And I remember that at the time, and I think the time where I was really getting pissed off with Solskjaer wasn't at the start of the season. I look back to this season. I think it was I think the time I was getting a bit annoyed with Ollie was probably, I'd have to go back and look at the league fixtures, but I think sort of around November time, maybe late October. I felt there was a lot of negative noise around Solskjaer at the start of the season, and if you watch the videos back from then, I was really struggling with that. I didn't really understand what that was all about. I really celebrated the Brighton goal, and a lot of people like, why are you celebrating it? We're a joke. But Solskjaer did say, I did say this at the time, that we didn't have a pre-season, we had a bad start to the season, and I said the words "hang in there," and I didn't mean that. What I meant is that we need to build momentum, we need to pick up points and stay close and build to the teams that are top of us. And actually, he's right. That's what's transpired. We did start the season badly. I really do think that was because we didn't have a pre-season. We were miles off the pace against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace could have beaten us 6-1 as well. Brighton should have beaten us 3 or 4-0, and Spurs did beat us 6-1. You look at those first 3 games of the season, without a shadow of a doubt, we should have had no points, not 3 points. We should have had none, and we should have got stuffed every single game. We were miles off. And you look at United now, with much the same team, we'd never get beat 6-1 or 3-1 by Palace or Spurs now. And a lot of that was down to no pre-season. But what Ollie has done really well is he's kept us in touch. And of course, Liverpool have dropped silly points. I can count 10 points Liverpool wouldn't have dropped last year. But that's not our fault. We've managed to hang in there. We've got ourselves into this situation. We've built momentum. We've got a good team. And, Solskjaer is right. He's right. And he deserves credit for that, because I don't think people give him the credit for that. I was probably one of, I wouldn't say a small number of people. There was a lot of people who agreed with me, but there was a lot of people who didn't. And I was at the start of the season and people were saying Ollie out. And I was like, we've just finished third literally 6 weeks ago. And people want to sack a manager because he's lost a couple of games in the first 3. When it's very clear that the players aren't fit. But some people didn't want to accept that. And also, we were also living through one of the crappiest transfer windows since the last one. So we've done really well to hang in there, or whatever it was Ollie meant, momentum, build and everything like that. And now we've got this opportunity. And he also spoke about the game. He was asked about the game in hand. And I think we've got an interesting answer to that as well, because he said it's difficult for the players mentally when they're looking at the league and get that game in hand. You're further down the league, but that's where you belong, but you have got a game in hand. And he said, when we had bad results at the start of the season, it's a bad thing having that game in hand, because it's like, well, you're 10th in the league or you're 12th in the league, but really, if you won your game in hand, you wouldn't be there, but you are there. So it just puts more pressure. And obviously, though, in this situation, when we've been higher up the league, it's been more positive, hasn't it? Because we've been like, if we win our game in hand, we're top. So I'm very, very happy that we're getting this game out of the way. I can't actually remember why it's being put out of the way. I think we just had the spare week and we arranged it a couple of weeks ago. But, you want to get this out of the way. Man City have got a couple of games in hand, haven't they, as well? But you want to get this out of the way. But we've got to win it. We've got to win it. We've got to have the right mentality. And, there's nothing more I would like to see tomorrow than us to turn up to Burnley and beat them 3 or 4-0. But we'll talk about that in the preview. But I think there's a real opportunity there. If we had Gabriel, we would be genuine title contenders. What do you think, says Anna Rudder? Gabriel at Arsenal, some people would say he's not that good. What he's like at Arsenal isn't what he'd be like at United. I wish we had bought him. He's tall, he's quick, he's left-footed. I think he would have been a good signing for United, better than what we've got, but we didn't do it. So, Wayne Finnegan says Bailly and Van der Beek must start against Liverpool and Burnley. We have to get Liverpool squash their midfield. Burnley will have to be patient. Got no chance of either of those starting, I don't think, Wayne, to be honest with you. Definitely Van der Beek. I can tell you now he won't start either of those games. I miss that demanding winning mentality of the board. The players are starting to talk about it, but the board clearly not aware of our situation, says Kennedy1612. And are you doing a preview for Manchester United? I am. Manchester United 99. I will cover the preview on the 8 o'clock show tonight. So we'll combine it with a normal show and a preview. So that's when we're going to do it. Just very, very compact. I mean, very exciting, but we normally have a bit of time to do previews, press conference reactions, but it's very, very compact. What else did he talk about? Progress of being first, Cavani back, inconsistent season, unlikely to buy anyone, Lindelof, Shaw back, being the hunted, Burnley game in hand, got to be on the front foot, bad start, okay, progress, but no one remembers that. So yeah, I think we've covered most of the things that Solskjaer spoke about, but it's and thanks for the super chats, by the way, through the $sign if you've done those. Really appreciate the questions, especially the one about Lindelof and Bay. I think that was really interesting. I would love to sit down with Ollie and know what that's all about, because I get tired myself of speaking about Lindelof and Maguire. I always feel guilty. I always feel guilty when I say anything that's negative, because I don't want to be, but I also am mature enough and experienced enough to know that if you want to be better, you have to take on constructive criticism. If you do a piece of work and it's not quite good enough, all right, tell people that that's good, but tell them where it's going wrong. So I just think with Lindelof and Maguire, for me, the evidence is astounding, really, how poor they are as a centre-back pairing, and it's frustrating that we keep going back to using it. But we've been talking about it for a long time. I think for 18 months now, people have wanted to see Bailly and Maguire, and we've seen Lindelof and Maguire. Well, ever since Maguire was signed, really. I think here is progress as we've stopped changing our team constantly to play a particular team, e.g. City. Slowly a philosophy might be coming up, says Vikram. And I think that's really important as well. Mark, can you get a Fellaini shirt in the background, says Robert McCormack. No, we don't want to mess this up. But yeah, I think you're right, Vikram. I think that there is a momentum around Manchester United at the moment. We are picking the 4-2-3-1. I think that's coming really, really... FA Cup draw is at 7 o'clock tonight, apparently, Asher, so we'll know on the 8 o'clock show who we've got. But yeah, I think that there is... the 4-2-3-1 is now being used more. We're not really seeing the 5-3-2s or the diamond anymore. I think the last time we played a back five was Leipzig, and it was a bloody nightmare. We went out. The diamond, I can't remember the last time we used that. I think we thought we were going to use it when Pogba played and we had McFred and Bruno, but it wasn't. It still was a 4-2-3-1. So we're using that. I think the team is going to be better for that. There's nothing wrong with picking the same sort of formation every game. You might have to ask people to do a different role because, let's be honest, Rashford off the left is going to do a different role to Pogba off the left. But the basic skeleton of the team is being set out, and I agree, Vikram. I think we are starting to see the benefits of that. I think the 4-2-3-1 is a very different 4-2-3-1 when you've got Maguire and Lindelof, or when you've got Maguire and Bailly, i.e. your fullbacks will push forward, your defensive line will push forward, your midfield will push forward when you've got Bailly, and we saw that against Everton where we suffocated them in their half. I'd love to see that against Burnley because Burnley aren't as good as Everton. And obviously when we play Lindelof and Maguire, we play a little bit deeper. Our fullbacks don't attack, they tuck in because it's all about protecting them slow centre-backs. But you're right, in essence, we are seeing that. So I like it. Will you do more Football Manager 21 content, says Clark? 318, I might do that. But Haderall says that Ollie's so desperate to play McTominay, so he has to play Pogba out of position on the left wing, just play Fred and Pogba and bench McTominay. I mean, look, you know what? I think the midfield debate is a good debate. It's not. I think the centre back Lindelof and Maguire is a danger. It's a real danger. I don't think McTominay and Fred is a danger. I don't think it's the best, but I don't think it's a danger to our prospects really. But you're right. I mean, for me, Pogba plays there for France. He should be playing next to Fred. He should be playing next to Matic. That should be our starting 11. I'd love to see Van der Beek play. I've accepted he won't play. I think we'll see Fred and McTominay in both games. But yeah, I mean, Paul Pogba should be playing in the position he plays for France, which is his best position, in a midfield too, with a little bit of a license to get forward, use his deep balls. That sounds wrong, but you know what? Pogba from the left wing is not going to hit the 40-yard pass to get Rashford in on the left wing, because he's on the left wing and you can't hit it there. So we lose a lot of what Pogba's all about, and I do think that. But maybe Pogba's not going to start anyway. So yeah, if you're joining a little bit late, please smash a like on the video. Let's see if we can get up to 2,000 likes while we're live. But Pogba's deep balls are really, really good. They're one of his biggest assets. You know, Pogba and his deep balls. You know, from deep, 40-yard balls. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know what you're thinking about. But for those who've joined us a little bit late, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saying transfers in January are unlikely to happen. There's a little bit more meat on the bones of that. What he actually said is that they have got transfer targets, long-term targets, and if they became available in January, of course, you'd look to do that deal, but it's unlikely anything will happen because clubs don't want to sell in January. So that's Solskjaer's stance. I want transfers, unlikely to happen. The third thing, which he'll never say, and I think we all know to be a real reason, is that our board are terrible. They've not planned. They've not looked to buy anybody in January. And as we know, Ed Woodward himself said we're focused more on summer transfer windows. So I feel for Solskjaer because unfortunately, our chief executive even said it himself, we're more focused on summer transfer windows. It makes you want to throw up. I think Solskjaer has to come out and say it's hard to do it in January because clubs don't want to sell. But the reality is, our chief executive actually did say a couple of months ago we're more focused on summer transfer windows. So we're left in this situation where actually, you know, we do want signings in January. Ollie wants them in January, but the club can't deliver them because they are not competent when it comes to transfers. So, you know, it's the situation we feared, and Solskjaer will have to try and do the, you know, win the title with no new centre back or midfielder or right winger. Yusuf says if he plays Bay, Van der Beek and Fred, Bruno, Pogba, Rashford and Cavani, that looks scary to any team we play. We can be in the front foot easily. I think it's all up to Ollie because that team to me looks like a title winner, says Yusuf. What do you think about playing Pogba in the central attacking midfield position with Bruno on the right? No, Isa, no. Why would you move the best attacking midfielder in the Premier League this year? Unless they rig it, he's about to win his 4th Premier League Player of the Month. No, you don't. Why would you move Bruno Fernandes? What weird logic is this? I'm sorry. I'm sure Pogba can play at number 10, and we all know Van der Beek can play at number 10. But nobody takes Bruno's place. Nobody. Like, never, ever move Bruno Fernandes to the right wing. Do not do that. Bruno Fernandes is the reason we're in a title race. Bruno Fernandes is the best attacking midfielder in the Premier League at this moment in time. I think Kevin De Bruyne is a better player, but on performance level, Bruno is the best. You never move that. You don't move that player. You cannot move that player. I think Pogba would be better just behind Bruno with his deep balls. Any questions on Diallo, says Lucas? No, I mean, I think until Diallo starts training and we start to get the news coming out of the training ground about where he's going to go, is he going to be a first team player? Is he going to be an under-23s player? Until we get that, then we don't know. Nothing about COVID as well, which is good. Just a little bit of an update on that. In the UK, we are going to be, it's very bad. It's worse than it was in April. And it's going to get worse. So obviously the most important thing is that everybody stays safe and stays well. From a human being point of view, from a football point of view, and we are a football channel, the positive is that we know that COVID has hit Manchester United and other clubs, and that Pellistri has had COVID. Maybe keep an eye out for Burnley. They've not said anything. I think they had a few scares themselves, but looks like Manchester United are fine in that area as well. And, the last thing we want is to see football put on hold for a few weeks because there's been a COVID spike. It could happen, but I don't think that's going to be useful. Well, it's not, is it? We don't need that happening because players stop training and then they've got to train again, etc. So, and actually, we want to get these 2 games out of the way, don't we? We want to get these 2 games away. I mean, as we were talking about last night, if we did beat Burnley and Liverpool, we'd be 6 points clear of Liverpool with the same games played. That's the challenge. And look, I don't want to talk about Liverpool before we beat Burnley, but I was thinking about this today. And this is what always happens with me when we're playing Liverpool. I'll start thinking about it a week ahead. And I was like, you know what? Liverpool are a good team. But imagine if Rashford had a really good game. or Bruno had a really good game, we could beat them. We can score against that defence. And if we, the mind wanders, but we've got to beat Burnley first. What do you think Ollie thought Maguire's impact on the team was going to be when we bought him? Do you think Ollie thought he was going to be like Ramos, says Alandre Pinel? I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when it comes to Harry Maguire, and we've seen it ourselves this season, he should be scoring more goals. He wins so many headers. He's brilliant at it. It's almost a false negative. It's like a false positive, because he wins the headers, which is very hard to do, but then he heads it like a balloon. Like, he should be getting... I think Harry Maguire should be scoring at least 5 Premier League headers from corners a season. And when you look at this season, he's had about 15 or 20. So, yeah, I think Harry Maguire has not fulfilled his talent at Manchester United yet. And I think anybody would admit that. But I think there's numerous reasons for it. I think he needs to play next to a quick centre-back, and you'll get a better Harry Maguire. And I think he needs to be better at attacking the ball, whether that's in his own box or the opposition box. If he does those, if you put him with a quick centre-back and he attacks the ball better, Harry Maguire's game will go up to the levels that we want it to be at. Those two things have to happen, though. And if they don't, then we're going to keep getting these inconsistent performances. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back again at 8 o'clock unless something breaks around transfers, which is sounding very unlikely, but it's a very exciting week. Smash a like on the video. Please subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. When I went live, we were about 50 away from 949,000. So please subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. And yeah, have a good afternoon. And if you like FIFA, I'm playing my FIFA career mode at about 3:45, so about an hour and a half. Mark Goldbridge, That's Football. And yeah, I'm really excited this week. It's funny, isn't it? Because we've had Christmas, but I actually feel like a kid at Christmas. I'm really excited. Can't emphasize that enough. I'm really excited. So speak to you soon. Thank you for watching, and please do stay safe.